Welcome to Overtime on Inferno, your weekly roundup of all the big stories in CSGO, quicker than a team can claim the bounty on EG's head. A quick reminder, rate and review is the end of the episode. It really helps us. I'm Logan. This is Aizy. We're changing things this week. We're gonna start things with a bunch of rapid fire stories, and then we'll get into like a bigger main story at the end. We're thinking of ways to improve how we present this. So let us know via feedback or by emailing me at logan@readtldr.gg if you like the new format or not. And if you hate it, please don't email me. I don't need that.
If you hate it, just blame somebody else.
Yeah, if you hate it, just tweet at the ReadTLDR account that you don't like gerbils. Specifically those words and no context.
Tell us you hate Stuart Little.
Yeah. All right, so we're going to start today with a bunch of rapid fire stories. So our first bit is NertZ was confirmed to be stepping in for valde on ENCE. This was rumored that he was apparently supposed to be the next person on the set, that he was that it was the next expected join to ENCE, and after 3 days or something like that, it was confirmed that after taking a little Danish side road, that they are back on the ENCE must-have an Israeli train.
Yeah, NertZ is very talented. I wasn't certain on him, and then I sort of looked more into his recent form and how he's been playing recently, and he's quite clearly made the step up from a good tier 2 player to a very, very good tier 2 player. Now it's the next step is, can you reproduce that form at tier 1 level? If there's any in-game leader who can bring that out of him, you would imagine it's Snappy.
Yep. So NertZ is coming from the Endpoint team, which I think formerly had Kirby. I don't think it's still current. I think he dipped for a little bit.
No, he dipped unattached.
Yeah, because we talked about him possibly thinking about going to Astralis, and then nothing ever came of that, which was a time. Yeah. But he was on that team, and he was doing a really, really good job on that team. That team also was the same team that produced FlameZ.
Okay.
They replaced Flames with NertZ. So you're seeing a little bit of a pattern here.
Yeah, you can tell that the smart teams have realized that there's talent in that area of the world. And I mean Endpoint also went for Boros, who's also very talented from from the East. I don't want to commit because I can't remember exactly where he's from.
I'm fairly certain he's from Jordan.
Okay, well, either way, he's from the east of Europe.
Yes.
And there's clearly talent there that isn't being picked up by some of the other teams. So some of the smart teams are going, this is undervalued talent, bring him in. NertZ was the next in that line, and now he's got the step up to ENCE. We'll see if he can reproduce that form.
Next on the list is a little mini story of our main story. Our main story today is obviously going to be ESL Pro League. But a little mini story is that JACKZ is stepping in for dupreeh for EPL. dupreeh is going away for paternity leave. Last time we saw JACKZ play, I need to add the Z in the notes. Apple Notes autocorrected JACKZ to Jack.
Yeah, I did think that. But... and just Jack.
Just Jack
is stepping in for them.
Yeah. Nova Design is stepping in for Vitality.
I hope not.
For everyone.
You don't have to play with him. I have to play with him sometimes.
So JACKZ, former French player for G2, will be stepping in for dupreeh. That's the last time we saw him play on a real tier 1 team. He's been playing in the French scene for a little bit since that point, but I don't think anyone other than Nell would really consider the French scene to be tier 1 right now. So
even Nell though. I mean, if anything, he's the biggest shit talker of France. I would say that this move sort of logically in my mind makes sense. JACKZ is kind of just a worse version of dupreeh. He's got an amazing deagle, he's got good mechanics, he's a lockdown CT player who hard entry on T side. Role wise it makes sense. He's slightly worse, but he's got good mechanics. He'll be fine.
And he's French, which means his lineup becomes
Vitality
more
is actually
French.
a French team.
Yeah, because they'll have 3 French players. Insane.
Yeah, and there will be worse because of it. Makes perfect sense.
All right, next on the docket, Hyped. We talked about last week Searson stepping down and Hyped temporarily being brought up to the big roster to stand in. That's official. He's official now. That's the whole story. Hyped is officially the fifth brand.
Is taking a break, supposedly. I don't know what that means. We've seen a lot of quote-unquote breaks that aren't really breaks. Hopefully Searson comes back. Hopefully Hampus comes back as well on NIP. But I'm not holding my breath.
Yep. I mean, I hope both of them come back to Counter-Strike. Let's keep it on. I hope both of them come back to Counter-Strike. Not specifically their teams, perhaps, depending on what was happening. Next is a tweet. We're going to try and start putting tweets up in the YouTube video. So if you're not watching on YouTube, you don't get to see the tweets, but we'll explain them. NaToSaphiX has been like kind of saying that he's got this undefined team that they're unaware that like we've been saying is going to happen. That was supposed to get picked up by a roster for like 7 years and then never did. The team got released. It's Asilian, Richie, Bibu, I can't even JACKZ, who's standing in at NATO on op. I don't care about any of that. The important bit about this, at least in my mind, is the fact that the coach of this team is Crystal.
Yeah, I like Crystal, but he basically said he didn't want to in-game lead anymore. He was bored of being a punching bag because of his bad stats. It's like, well, yeah, but also, who cares if you've got bad stats? Your teams are usually pretty good.
Yeah, we talked about this a couple weeks ago, and we'll talk about it again in about 5 minutes. In the fact that Crystal and Sheikh Zula play similar roles in that...
Yeah, they're talent farmers.
Yeah, they seem to find the best of talent, regardless of how well they play or how well their teams do, is they always are able to find the next... Big is the wrong word, but the next big player, the next big talent that come through.
Crystal consistently creates good players. Like he's not turning straw into gold, but he's certainly turning it into a more valuable metal.
Yeah, he'll be making you. He's going to reinforce fundamentals, same way Sheikh does. So it's good to see him move into a coaching role because that kind of seems like the next.
It's a shame it's on this team, which is so dead.
Yeah, so that's the problem. That's the big that big asterisk with this team is Crystal is great at finding people who are kind of outliers and bringing them in to be like these like really good role players, like pretty decent players for everyone other than this team. This team,
maybe Bibu and Richie are really good and we just don't know it yet.
But like Asilian has been trotted out so many times to just show that he's.
I think the less we talk about Asilian is probably the better.
Yeah. Same
the guy is controversial.
Same to a degree in terms of NATO on just we've seen him play a million times. So, all right, next on the little rapid fire docket we got going on here. Actually, the last one. This is gonna be the longest of the rapid fire stories. It's our secondary story, if you would. Evil Geniuses, famed North American. They did not make the major. Not only did they not make the major, you'll notice that the major isn't until May, and we're sitting in February. They didn't make it out of the closed RMR, the closed qualifier for the RMR. So if
they didn't make it in to the qualifier for the play-in for the major.
Yeah, so they
failed in the qualifier to the play-in to the major. They used to be top 5 in the world.
Yeah. So that on its own should have been enough of an issue, and we'll talk about. Well, we'll give some analysis on that in a second.
And they did it from NA. It's the easiest one to qualify from.
So that in itself was kind of a huge deal. But it only got brought bigger. And we're looking at this tweet right now, which has 500,000 views on it. From KASAD, famed onlooker of North American Counter-Strike, tweeting
famed hater.
Yeah. The team, quote, the team that eliminates EG from the RMR closed qualifier will receive a $1,000 prize from me.
Which is just a great tweet. What a fucking guy. This is just fantastic. I aspire to hate this well. I'm a pretty good hater, but I wish I was this much of a hater. This is phenomenal.
Yeah, I want to break this down for a minute. So a team that is right now not in the top 30, but is an organization that should definitely be in the top 30, a team that we'd theoretically say on a normal day is a top 3 team in North America. Not that there's that much competition to be a top 3 team.
A top 3, a top 10, and a top 20 team in North America, and a top 100 team in North America.
Yeah, so you did
4 teams,
but basically teams that should be pretty well known and pretty good within their respective region. And they've got 20 players rostered. Actually, I think it's more right now because of them picking up Junior, but we'll get to that in a second. So with all of that, you'd expect them to make the qualifier for the majors play-ins.
Yeah.
So
from
NA, which
again, this is unprecedentedly bad.
Let's be very clear about this. A team called Ur made it through, which
who beat them,
which was made up of former players from EG.
Yeah.
Ur had Dirty Montana, who wasn't a former player, but Glacia, who definitely was on EG.
Glacia was there.
Black? EG White?
I don't know the difference between black or white, and I refuse to learn the difference because it doesn't matter.
But it doesn't matter either way. But so that happened. And then today, to just dump all onto this, an article came out today from HLTV, which was an interview with Nafly, in which he talked about a lot of things, and then at the end, this is with Maui Snake and I think Scrawny. I read the written out version. There's a video version as well, where he said, quote, I'm going to quote the article here. The final leg of the interview began with Maui Snake inquiring about NAF's potential rumored move to EG at the start of 2022. Not only did the Canadian refuse to hold back as why he turned down the transfer, but also gave a glimmer of insight as why Liquid was so dysfunctional in 2021. I did not want to play with Liquid towards the end of 2021. The right flare began. I was having some issues with how the team was being run, how it operated times, how some players could act sometimes. When I was talking to EG management, that was some of the worst management I think I've ever talked to, probably in my life, he continued, providing a damning assessment of the North American organization. They're clearly not handling their team properly at all. I was like, Liquid is late years ahead of this organization. I would be an idiot to go join this team.
Real
and based.
That is a takedown, and you also just can't argue against it. Like,
no,
Liquid are clearly light years ahead.
So, to recap what's happened in the last week, EG failed to make the qualifier for the major. They actually almost failed to make the qualifier for the major, but we'll jump past that part for a second. They then had a bounty put on them by famed Serbian XANTARES, also famed North American Counter-Strike hater XANTARES.
Just famed all-round hater.
Famed hater XANTARES.
Legendary hater.
For no publicly known reason. It's rumored that he was up for a coaching job with them or something. They didn't. But
well, no, isn't it because he talked after they beat Heroic? I think he was on the he was one of the analysts that GamerDoc was like, the analysts keep talking about how Heroic didn't show up, step out the echo chamber. And I think he was just like, well, fuck you then. Let's really pay attention to what EG are doing, if that's what you want me to do. That's how I see it. And he's fucking right to do so. They called him out, said, you need to pay attention to what EG are doing. So he's paying attention to what EG are doing. What EG are doing is getting absolutely devastated by malbsMd, a guy a year ago we both said they should have signed.
So, Malbs, the TeamOne / Los Grandes or something like that. I don't understand what's happening with TeamOne right now.
They're going through a rebrand, I think.
Okay, either way. But TeamOne claimed this $1,000 bounty, which, by the way, via Twitter, has officially gotten claimed, and they are going skiing with the bounty.
Amazing.
Which is absolutely fantastic. But they got a bounty put on them. The bounty was then claimed. Then they signed Junior, because of course that's what you do. They signed Junior to EG Black.
To replace Wiz.
And then, after that, NAF went on HLTV and absolutely devastated their entire thing. So that's the kind of week they're having.
It is just so much fun just like piling it on EG. I don't know why I hate them so much. Everyone hates them. Everyone like is just enjoying their downfall, and it's just so funny to me. This is the most community I've ever seen from an esports. Like, this is amazing.
The worst bit about this, right, is that this literally has only happened in the last week. Like, all of this happened this is not like over a month and a half of like stuff happening and like, oh, Kasai put the bounty on and then we forgot and then the cop. No. This is literally
the bounty was 4 days ago.
The bounty was 4 days ago.
Do you know what the best bit? Do you know what the best bit about the tweet from Kasai is? He doesn't say if a team eliminates EG.
No. The team that
he says the team that eliminates them, which suggests that he knew they were going to go. Like, there's no like, there's no question in his mind. Like, the team that does it, I'm going to give money to. Not if a team does it.
And the comment section, by the way, is just so good. By the way,
yeah, like it's so good. And just so we can talk about what actually happened. So that they did make it 3-2 in the qualifier, but
then they had to
there were 7 places. Yes. And their 7th place game was against TeamOne. malbsMd, his stats in this game are fucking insane. He went 63 and 35 in two maps, neither of which went to overtime. He dropped 63 kills. 37 of those kills were headshots. Bear in mind, Breezy, who's supposedly paid 30 to 40 grand a month, only had 34 kills, never mind headshots. He had over 100 ADR, which over 2 maps is always insane. A 1.57 rating. Like, he had the most opening kills in the game as well. Like, they got dicked by this kid. I've been high on him for ages, but he is just dicked EG.
Let's do it by this metric. Malbs is a good player, and we all know that. But EG is supposed to be the poster child for people like Breezy and Automatic and Hext and Wiz to do really well. And the only person on this team in this series that sported a positive rating was Neelan.
Yeah.
Also, this game happened at like 1 a.m. or some shit because blast scheduling was terrible. And EG had like a 4-hour break before this game, and TeamOne came right from their game before. Yeah, like they didn't get to eat and shit. There's a whole thread from Peacemaker about like Blast being just kind of the worst in terms of scheduling.
I know there was issues with the Asian one as well, which were I think were fixed in the end. But this was just a monster performance from Malbs. But like, bro, like this is a guy you didn't want to sign because you didn't think he was good enough. He's better than what you've got currently. I can tell you that much.
Yeah, they were supposed to play 45 minutes after a BO3, and EG hadn't played for the first like 4 hours previously, and they said that if TeamOne didn't show up to this game, they would forfeit. And then TeamOne came and whooped.
Yeah,
what a week.
Yeah, this has been great. It's fucking great. I don't know. I really enjoy how much everyone dislikes EG. It's just so funny to me. Oh, by the way, Logan, did you know that we're on a new team together?
What team is that?
We're on your team, dear listeners. Yes, you listeners. I'm talking about you. We sit here every week on your coaching bench and we make sure you become 50% more informed, 30% smarter, and 100% funnier. Do not add those up. It does not add up to 100%, but that's okay.
I'd strongly question the 100% funnier, but yeah, you're right. But and we do all this. We don't even get paid for any of it.
We don't need any money. I mean, if you want to give us some, that's fine. Yeah. But all we actually need from you is to be a good teammate. What do good teammates do? They have your back. They support you. The best way to support us is by hitting that subscribe or the follow button, whether you're listening on Spotify or YouTube or whatever other podcast platform. By subscribing, you help us reach a bigger audience and hopefully one day attract some sponsors to this team of ours. So go and hit subscribe now. Right now. We'll be right here when you get back.
I'm watching you. Okay, we're going to get to our main story now. The big kahuna story here, which is ESL Pro League. I want to start this off with a take in which I talked about a lot on the Dust 2 stream last week. when we had downtime in between, the downfall of evil geniuses and cheaters being banned live, which is that ESL Pro League really isn't a league anymore.
It never really was.
I want to explain this. So it's used to be you played within a group, played with like a conference, right? You played a round robin, so everyone played each other, and then the best team from the little round robin went on, and then you did a bracket at the end.
Yeah, now it's just a normal tournament that just
now it's just like 4 groups in a tournament, and there's 32 teams, and so it's 8 teams per group, and you just go. And that just, I don't know. Rename your shit ESL. It's not Pro League anymore. It's Pro Tournament or something.
Yeah. Yeah, I kind of agree. It's not a league. But then, like, for some reason in esports, people just have a real issue with round robin. Like, anytime there's a round robin tournament, somebody on HLTV gets really upset and writes an article about how round robin stinks and it's bad and nobody likes it.
I want E-League to come back, because that's how a league is run. You play like 3 matches a week or something like that, and you just play them on random nights. Bring E-League back. That has nothing to do with this matter, but bring E-League back. So I want to go through I want to go through the format of how this league works now. I want to go through power rankings that we think from Group A, and then I want to talk about the openers, some of which will be done by the time we get to them. So the current format is there's 4 opening matches per group. There's a lower bracket, an upper bracket. That's normal. And then there's the last chance stage, which means the teams that lose in the lower bracket go to a third bracket. So it's like triple elimination. And it starts getting real complicated when you hit the last chance stage. This is going to be, and I truly mean this, the most confusing tournament to see if a team is still in this event or not.
My brothers in Christ, ESL. I like you guys. I've worked with ESL loads of times. Lot of good people there. This fucking sucks. I'm gonna hold you. This fucking sucks. Why does it need to be this complicated? Like, this is like the thing I hate about Blast is that if it takes me more than 30 seconds to figure out what the format is, maybe that's on me, but I'm not interested. It should be quite double elimination, best of 3, like GSL groups. I get it. Round robin groups, double elimination, fine, perfect. What the fuck's going on?
Swiss system, we even get that now.
Swiss system's fucking great. I love Swiss system. Bring Swiss system back.
But we've had Swiss system in the major for like 7 years now, so like we get that one now too.
Have a 32 team group Swiss system.
I love it.
I think you'd have to play 6. I think you'd have to win 6 to go through.
That's so
the Swiss
chaotic.
system's normally with 16, isn't it?
I mean, in this you have to win 3 to get through. But like if you're super curious about this, please go to the HLTV page, because it is a clusterfuck in the amount of games that you have to play. If you lose one game, like each group takes a week, and we're playing like 3 games a day.
I think the biggest problem is it makes people not care so much about the playoffs because they've been invested for so long. Like they're either going to stop caring halfway through, or they're going to like be jaded before the playoffs.
Well, or there's going to be people that just look at this and go, yeah, I have no fucking clue what's going on. I'm not watching this shit. And then they'll get to the playoffs and they go, oh, okay, sure. I guess we got like 4 teams per group or some shit at this point, or 3 teams per group. And then we're okay, great. We're done. Like, I don't even know how many teams go into the playoffs. I think it's 4. I think we somehow get half this group gone. Yeah, last chance winner, 3rd place, 2nd place, 1st place. Somehow with all of this, all it comes down to is we eliminate the bottom half of teams. Bring back the Swiss system.
32 group Swiss system, 6 wins gets you through.
I want it. Let's do it. All right, so
it actually can't take any longer than this.
Yeah, really. And it would have better games, because then you have like the 4. What would it be? The 5-5 games or some shit like that.
Yeah, it'd be chaos.
And you do best of ones. That's fine. When you're doing Swiss system, you do best of ones up until the best of three part, where it's like if you're going to get eliminated or you have to go through, you have to win best of three. That's okay. I'm game with that. Run it like the major.
Yeah.
All right.
Or just have like two. Is it 16 teams normally in a Swiss system? You could just have two Swiss systems side by side, Group A and Group B.
That would be fun too.
That'd be great.
But do a draw show
closer to a league as well.
Do a draw show for that and break teams into like the top 8 teams and then the middle 8 teams and then the bottom.
Do you know what they should do? The 2 top seeds, so G2 and Heroic,
they do
in each group, and they pick who's in the. They either pick who's in each other's group or they pick who's in their own group. I don't know what's better.
No, I think you do both. I think the first round is like you pick 4 teams that you want in your group, and then you pick 4 teams you want to be in the other group. So that way you know that there's coming that you're going to have to pick teams for the other group. So maybe you want to pick them for yourself. There's got to be some strategy involved.
Yeah, this is great. I love this.
I'm all in on this. Let us plan events. The TLDR Invitational coming soon to your TVs.
Yeah, that'd be good fun. I just want to invite EG and watch them lose.
I mean, they're free.
This is the best thing about Group A. We've barely mentioned what's happening in Pro League. The best thing about Group A is that EG are going to get banged out.
EG are here, which is so dumb. Okay, I want to do quick power rankings of the teams that are here without having knowledge of the matches that have gone on, even though we obviously do because I see the 2 matches that have finished already. Teams here are Outsiders, IHC, MIBR, Fnatic, Cloud9, Evil Geniuses, Eternal Fire, and G2.
Yeah.
So I wrote my power ranking now really quickly. I'm going to say it. I'll explain some stuff because there's some explanations in here, and then Elliot will go ahead with his power ranking. So my power ranking is G2 at 1. I think that's pretty obvious.
Yeah.
They're real good, even though their ESL Pro League intro letters kind of clowning them.
All right. So I wrote that a month ago. My deadline for that was a month ago, and
for context,
was I supposed to assume they won Katowice?
We got a context here for a second.
It's ESL's fault for giving me an early deadline. I don't fucking know, but I'm gonna get blamed for it, and it's not my fucking fault.
We got a context here for a second. People on Twitter, and by people I mean Thorin on Twitter, was upset with the fact that G2 got clowned on for only winning 1 trophy in the last couple of months, and Thorin took that as ESL doesn't recognize other tournament organizer events.
Couldn't possibly be anything else, could it?
When in reality, the due date was prior to them winning at Kato, so Elliot was in fact only referencing other tournament organizers' events. Either way. So G2 at number 1. I have Outsiders at number 2. We've said a lot about Outsiders previously on how they're a really big skill check to teams that are kind of not super together, but they still look good. Fnatic are right below them to me. I think the Fnatic is super kind of all over the place, and the only reason I put them here is because I have a feeling they're gonna have a good tournament. But it's kind of a vibe check thing for me. Cloud9 is right below them. I don't know how to feel about Cloud9 right now.
Wait, you have Eternal Fire 7th.
Yeah.
They just won CCT, bro.
Yeah. Let me get to that. I haven't gotten there yet.
They're decent, man. XANTARES is about to fry.
Cloud9 below Fnatic. And then I have what I termed in here the big ass drop, which is we now drop a good chunk. In which I have IHC, then I have MIBR, and MIBR is only here because of ENCE, which is absolutely cracked. Then I have Eternal Fire, and then I have EG.
So the big ass drop should be between whoever's 7th and EG for a start.
I mean, yeah, I figured that there was a universally known big ass drop between
also,
anyone.
Putting the big ass drop between Cloud9 and IHC is very brave, given what happened the last time those two met. Eternal Fire, I think, are pretty hard done by. They just won CCT. They've got XANTARES. I don't give a fuck what anyone thinks. XANTARES is a top 30 player in the world.
Give me the power rankings.
G2, massive gap. Outsiders, Cloud9, Eternal Fire, Fnatic, IHC. MIBR, massive gap, EG. Fnatic are not very good.
Okay. I mean, that
Um,
Fnatic not being good is a reasonable take. I
G2,
think
G2 are the best team in the world, and then like the next like outsiders are like 5th.
Yeah,
so
and then
pretty
it's just
big gap between them.
and then it's a decent drop to like
And then
Cloud9
it's
or
like
Fnatic's
Cloud9.
like 14, 13, somewhere in there.
The gap
Like,
between outsiders and Cloud9 is smaller than the gap between outsiders and G2. I'd say that. And I think Cloud9 are the third best team in this group. I know they've been kind of shit recently, but they're better than Fnatic. IHC, I will say, IHC versus Fnatic is probably closer than Cloud9 versus Fnatic. I think IHC are closer to Fnatic than Fnatic are to Cloud9. I really don't think Fnatic are very good. Nikodos is just kind of bad. MIBR have 1 player, so they're like 7th. EG have 0 players, so they're 8th.
I mean, my Eternal Fire take was that, Eternal Fire has 1 player, and it's XANTARES. So
XANTARES is better than Insanity.
Yeah, but so the reasoning I put Eternal Fire below MIBR is because Eternal Fire have 1 player, and it's XANTARES, who has higher highs than Insanity on MIBR, but I trust the supporting cast of MIBR a little bit more than I trust the supporting cast of Eternal Fire if Insanity or XANTARES have a bad day.
Not entirely unreasonable. But XANTARES, I actually don't care if people disagree with us. XANTARES is one of the 30 best players in the world. He might be one of the 20 best players in the world. XANTARES is absolutely unbelievably good at Counter-Strike. I actually do not care if people are, he's on a shit team. He is a fucking monster. He is an unbelievable player. And the fact that Eternal Fire are even allowed into events like this is entirely because XANTARES is one of the best players in the world. Because the rest of that team is garbage. It's awful. But XANTARES is unbelievable.
Here's the number one thing. I don't remember who's on the rest of that Eternal Fire team, and it doesn't matter.
I just had to look. It's like Major, Emor, Calyx, and somebody else.
Oh, so it's just Space Soldiers.
Xcloud. Xcloud's fucking awful.
It's Space Soldiers.
Yeah. But without Paz, who's actually pretty good.
I'd also just like to note the universality of G2 being number 1 and EG being number last.
Yeah, it's going to blow up in our face. G2 are going to go out of this group somehow.
I'm going to put, it's lovely. So 4 opening matches. Outsiders IHC, which just finished 2-0, but don't let that fool you, because the Inferno was really, really close, and that legitimately could have gone either way. The Overpass
IHC are like really good at Inferno though. Like they take everyone close on Inferno.
The Overpass was definitely a little bit more sketchy. But there's a really, really, really insane play from Techno. Gets a knife in the back and like a 1v4 clutch or something like that. Really good play. Their Overpass left a little to be desired, but that was the Outsiders map pick either way, and kind of just.
Very quickly, I just wanted to look this up because I wanted to back up what I just said about XANTARES. So last year he was the 2nd highest rated player in the world.
Okay.
And you might go, oh yeah, but he played against shit teams.
Yeah, I was to say he's farming tier 2 Turkey.
True. His rating against top 50 opponents was 1.2, but when he played against top 5 opponents, he dropped off to 1.24. He's a god. His rating goes up the better the team he's playing against is, and it starts at 1.2.
All right, I've decided that we're creating the TLDR Invitational. It's going to be 0 prize pool.
It's just a 1v1 between XANTARES and malbs.
No, it's a 1v1 between XANTARES and the entire DBG. Actually, wait, we may see that. We may see that this week. We may see that tomorrow. I'm more the TLDR Invitational was just all the teams that didn't make the major that should have made the major. Just play together.
There aren't many. There are many teams. There's like Movistar.
No, you just take all 3 EG teams. That's 3 to start with.
Yeah.
Furia's female team, who can't make the major because of
Furia
conflict of interest. Yeah. Movistar. We could get something together, man. This would be a tier 2 tournament to end all tier 2 tournaments. And
awful.
The best part is everyone plays 100 ping.
This is the worst idea I've ever heard. And this is just a terrible idea. I get to watch all 3 EG teams playing on ping. That sounds awful. Why would anyone watch it?
For the
I genuinely would rather watch XANTARES play aimbots.
So the other 2 openers. So Outsiders beats IHC. Fnatic just beat MIBR 2-0. 2 close maps, I believe. Although stupid HLTV isn't helping me here today. Nope, never mind. That's a lie.
They got banged on Ancient.
Yeah, MIBR absolutely.
16-12 is a pretty comfortable win as well. Like, if you win 16-12, you're like, yeah, you're pretty comfortable with that. It's like winning by 2 goals. But
16-7 is a little bit rough right there.
Yeah.
Especially with Fnatic having a really good T side.
I feel like Ancient's actually T sided now, or at least it's even.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think Ancient probably is T sided. So there's 2 more best of 3s today for the openers. Cloud9 EG and Eternal Fire G2. Theoretically, stats, life, general soothsayers would tell us that this should be Cloud9 winning and G2 winning, but I think EG's best way to prove Kassad wrong is to just go and beat up on Cloud9 today.
Yeah, that'll happen.
And then we get more tweets. We just continue this news cycle.
Yeah, I mean, look, if EG get more than 2 maps,
this tournament,
that's probably a success.
They're guaranteed 3 games, by the way. They're guaranteed 3 best of 3s, so they're guaranteed.
If
9.
they get a map in each, they'll be really happy with that. Which is just hysterical to me.
So making it out of this group, I think, is universally defined as Outsiders, G2, Cloud9, and then you could think about
and then
the
take
West.
your pick. Yeah.
I personally think it's Fnatic. I think you'll probably think it's Eternal Fire.
I think it's XANTARES Fire. I think he takes him out.
But either way, it probably won't be Evil Geniuses.
I would assume not. Look, man. If malbsMD is dropping a 1.57, I love malbsMD. If he's dropping 1.57, XANTARES is going to eviscerate. He will leave a puddle on the floor.
I'm so excited.
There will be nothing left of Evil Geniuses after XANTARES has his way with them.
That's the TLDR match of the week, 6:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on Thursday. The inevitable EG Eternal Fire match. Sorry, match to watch.
XANTARES will leave a... What is left of Evil Geniuses will be a puddle on the floor. XANTARES is going to... And he's going to fry them so badly.
All right. I'm doing our cursory check of do we have any walk-ons that have happened while we started recording, and in fact, it does not seem like we do, other than Taco missing
Pro League.
Pro League.
There seems to be a lot of stand-ins, which is kind of annoying.
Yeah, but we'll get to Taco missing Pro League when we get to talk about the 0-0 Nation. But until that point, we'll be back again next week. A good reminder again, please. Let us know if you hated this format. If you hated this format, make sure to tweet at the TLDR account that you hate gerbils. And if you liked this format, or you want to see improvements in it, make sure to email me at logan@retldr.gg. I will actually respond. But until then, you can find us on Twitter at Logan at AZS and at retldr. And we'll be back again next week to talk about Group B.
Hell yeah.